YouTube, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make dough for your own sourdough loaves that you can bake at home. We're going to start off with a starter. This is a starter that I've already made. I'll show how to make your own starter in a future video. To start with, we're going to feed the starter, so I add 100 grams of flour to the starter along with 100 grams of warm water, and I mix that together very thoroughly until everything is combined. Once you've mixed your starter, set it aside to rise, and once it's reached its peak, that is when we'll put it into the dough and mix it all together. But until then, leave it on the side for it to rise. While the starter is rising, we'll begin on the dough. We'll start with 1,000 grams of flour. You can use any combination of flour you'd like. I'm just using all-purpose flour here. I'm going to pour in 700 grams of water. Now I'm going to take it over to the mixer and mix it well. Once it's been mixed and it looks somewhat like this, we're going to let it autolyze, so we'll cover it and put it aside for 30 minutes to an hour. Now that our dough has autolyzed for an appropriate amount of time, I'm going to pour in the starter that has reached its peak. I'm going to put in about 200 grams of the starter that I had just risen. We're also going to add in 20 grams of salt. Just pour it in. Once you've got all the ingredients in the bowl, you're going to want to mix them all together in the mixer, cover it, and set it aside. We're going to leave it on its own for 30 minutes. After those 30 minutes, you're going to want to do your first set of stretch and folds. We're going to leave the dough in the bowl and just stretch it and fold it over itself. We're going to do this a total of 4 times. Once you've done it a few times, we're going to close the bowl back up and set it back aside for another 30 minutes. Once it's been sitting there for 30 minutes, you're going to want to take it back out and do your second set of stretch and folds, exactly the same as the first time. Leave it in the bowl, stretch and fold it over itself. Really try to stretch it out and bring it to the center and then push it back down. And once you've done your second set and you feel like you're done, just cover it back up and put it back on the side for another 30 minutes. After that 30 minutes, it's time for your third set, in which is exactly the same as the second and first set. Just stretch it and fold it over itself. Once you feel like you're done, then just cover it back up, throw it back on the side for another 30 minutes. The fourth and usually final stretch and fold, just the same way as all the other ones. Although in this one I'm going to do a little test called the window pane test, which is I'm going to stretch the dough and try to stretch it really thin so I can see right through it. As you can see, it failed the window pane test, so I ended up waiting another 30 minutes and doing another set of stretch and folds, in which I did the window pane test again and the dough succeeded, so I knew this dough was finished with the kneading. Once your dough passes the window pane test, your dough is pretty much finished, and you can leave it aside for the bulk rise. If you bulk rise it outdoors, it will take about 6 hours, but if you leave it in the fridge, which is what I do, you can leave it in there overnight. Anyways, thank you for watching, and watch part 2 to finish off your loaves.